Perm region, Ural Mountains. March 19, 1965. A Soviet space capsule crashes through the pine canopy of the Siberian taiga and punches into deep snow. The parachute collapses over the trees above it. The capsule is intact. Both men inside are alive. Alexei Leonov and Pavel Belyaev have just completed one of the most successful and most dangerous space missions in history. 18 hours earlier, Leonov became the first human being to walk in space, floating outside the Voskhod 2 capsule for 12 minutes on a 5-meter tether while the rest of the planet watched on television. He nearly died doing it. His spacesuit inflated in the vacuum beyond its designed parameters. He could not fit back through the airlock. He released air from the suit manually, reducing pressure to a point that risked nitrogen narcosis, compressed himself, entered the airlock headfirst against protocol, and made it inside. Then the automatic guidance system malfunctioned on re-entry. Belyaev had to orient the capsule manually, lying horizontal across both seats while Leonov held him, then get both of them back into position fast enough to fire the retro-rockets with the center of gravity in the correct place. They managed it. The delay was 46 seconds. Those 46 seconds put them down 400 kilometers from the planned landing site. They are in dense taiga forest near the city of Perm, roughly 180 kilometers from the nearest road. The temperature outside the capsule is minus 25 degrees Celsius. The explosive bolts that should have secured the exit hatch have blown it clean into the snow, leaving a gap open to the outside air. Flight controllers do not know where they are. The families of both men have been told they are resting after a successful recovery. They are not resting. They are sitting in a capsule in the middle of a Siberian forest in winter, listening to wolves. The weapon in their survival kit is a 9mm Makarov pistol. Leonov looks at it. He knows these forests. He knows what lives in them. He knows what the Makarov is and is not capable of against a brown bear or a pack of wolves in winter. He keeps the thought to himself. They spend 2 nights in the forest before rescue teams reach them on skis. The recovery crews have to cut down trees to clear a landing zone large enough for the helicopter. The capsule itself cannot be removed for several more days. Nobody is killed. Nobody is attacked. But Leonov does not forget what he was holding when he looked out at the trees. 14 years later, in 1979, he tells the Soviet military what he needs. Not for himself, for every cosmonaut who comes after him. The result is the TP-82. The weapon Leonov described to military engineers was not a pistol. It was not a conventional firearm of any kind in the standard military inventory. It was something that had never been built for the purpose he was describing, because nobody had previously needed to build a survival weapon for a person who had just returned from orbit, landed in the wrong country, and found themselves alone in terrain where everything that could kill them was either the cold, the wildlife, or the distance to any human settlement. The requirements he gave the engineers at the Tula Arms plant were specific. The weapon must be capable of killing or deterring a large predator at close range. It must also be capable of killing small game at distance for food. It must be capable of firing a signal flare visible from the air. It must function in temperatures as low as minus 40 degrees Celsius. It must function without fine motor control, because a person who has just emerged from a space capsule after a high-gravity re-entry may have impaired coordination. It must be operable with gloves. It must have a second function beyond shooting because a survival situation in winter taiga requires tools as much as weapons. No existing weapon met all of those requirements, so the engineers built one that did. The TP-82 is a break-action triple-barrel firearm. The name stands for Toka Pistole, pistol of the Tula type, though calling it a pistol undersells what it is by a considerable margin. The 2 upper barrels are smoothbore, side by side, and chambered for 12.5 by 70mm shotgun shells. This cartridge is approximately equivalent to a 40-gauge shotgun round, firing either a spread of buckshot for close-range predator defense and bird hunting, or a signal flare cartridge that produces a bright red visual signal visible at altitude. The shotgun barrels are the dominant design element of the weapon because the requirements they meet are the most immediate. A brown bear charges. A pack of wolves circles. At contact range, 2 simultaneous blasts of buckshot from smoothbore barrels solve a problem that a 9mm pistol does not. The lower barrel is rifled and chambered for 5.45 by 39mm ammunition. The the same cartridge used in the AK-74 assault rifle. The rifled barrel with its full-length 5.45 round gives the operator an accurate shot at ranges where the shotgun barrels are ineffective. Hunting medium game for food, signaling through terrain where a flare might not clear the canopy. Engaging a threat at distance before it closes. The Soyuz kit that contains the weapon provides specific ammunition for each function. 10 cartridges of SPD buckshot for the shotgun barrels. 10 SPS signal flare cartridges for the shotgun barrels. An unspecified quantity of SNP, soft point 5.45 rounds for the rifle barrel. Each cartridge type is stored in a separate pouch on the kit's carrying belt, so the operator can identify them by touch in the dark. The firing mechanism is a single trigger with 2 exposed hammers. The right hammer fires the right shotgun barrel. The left hammer fires the left shotgun barrel, or, when a sliding selector on the left side of the receiver is repositioned, fires the lower rifle barrel instead. To reload, the operator pushes a lever below the selector to the left, which releases the barrel cluster and allows it to hinge forward and down, exposing all 3 chambers simultaneously. The empty cases are removed manually. Fresh cartridges are inserted. The barrels are closed and locked. The mechanism requires no fine motor precision to operate. The controls are large and clearly differentiated. The action of breaking the weapon open to reload, familiar to anyone who has used a conventional hunting shotgun, transfers directly to the TP-82. None of this is the detail that makes the weapon extraordinary. The detail that makes it extraordinary is the stock. The buttstock of the TP-82 is a machete, not a conventional rifle stock with a knife stored inside it, not a stock that conceals a folding blade. The stock is the machete, a 14-inch trapeze-shaped blade with a slotted handle that fits into the pistol grip of the weapon, transforming the handgun-sized firearm into a shoulderable carbine with the blade running along the underside of the stock, protected by a reinforced canvas sheath that also functions as a butt pad. When the stock is removed, the operator has a machete. When it is attached, the operator has a carbine. The sheath that protects the blade doubles as the recoil pad for the shooter's shoulder. The geometry of the trapeze-shaped blade makes it equally useful for cutting branches, clearing undergrowth, chopping through impacted snow to build an emergency shelter, and used as a close-quarters defensive tool if the situation requires it. The total weight of the TP-82 with stock attached is 2.4 kilograms. The overall length with stock attached is 670 millimeters, approximately the length of a standard carbine. Without the stock, it fits inside the Soyuz portable survival kit, the NAS, which every crew carries as standard equipment. If you're finding this examination of Soviet weapons engineering of interest, subscribing to the channel helps ensure you do not miss the next one. Development of the TP-82 formally began in 1981 at the Tula Arms Plant. The project ran in parallel with a competing design, the TOS-81, developed at the same facility. By 1982, the TP-82 had been selected. The manufacturing run was completed by approximately 1987, when enough units existed to equip all active Soyuz missions and certain Soviet Air Force aircraft crews whose operational profiles put them at risk of emergency landings in remote territory. The weapon entered active service with the Soviet space program in 1986. It was issued with every crewed Soyuz mission from that point forward, carried to the International Space Station aboard Soyuz transport capsules, and remained part of the standard survival kit through the entire Soviet period and into the Russian Federation's space program. American astronauts who flew to the International Space Station aboard Soyuz capsules were also issued the TP-82 as part of the Soyuz crew survival kit. This produced a situation with no precedent in weapons history. American citizens were required, as a condition of their mission assignment, to qualify on a Soviet-designed triple-barrel combination gun with a machete attached to the stock. The training was conducted at Star City outside Moscow. The qualification requirements were practical rather than marksmanship-focused. The astronaut needed to demonstrate the ability to operate all 3 barrel modes, reload under time pressure wearing gloves, attach and detach the machete stock, and handle the weapon safely in winter conditions. Several American astronauts who completed this training described the TP-82 in post-mission interviews. The descriptions were consistent. The weapon was unusual in appearance, but logical in concept. It solved the problem it was built to solve. The TP-82 was retired from Soyuz survival kits in 2006. The official reason was that the ammunition had aged beyond its certified service life, and the decision was made not to manufacture new production runs of the specialized 12.5 by 70mm cartridges. The weapon itself remains functional. The ammunition is the constraint.